On this Total Theater Tony show, what a joy to bring back to the neighborhood one of our wonderful critics. She is Raven Snook. She is the editor-in-chief of TDF Stages magazine that's run by the Theater Development Fund, folks. You'll also read her criticism in Time Out magazine, and she's taking a little time out of her busy schedule right here today to talk to us about featured actress in a musical. But first of all, how are you, Raven? How was your season?
It was a really exciting season. There was so much great work. There were some of the worst shows I've ever seen and some of the best shows I've ever seen. So
I have to stop because everybody's saying how wonderful the season was, and it really was a great season. But what was so terrible? What did you hate?
Oh God, McNeil, Tammy Faye, Swept Away. I will say I am Swept Away is an acquired taste. I know people who absolutely adore it, but that was 90 minutes of torture for me.
Oh my!
I wanted them to kill and eat me at that point.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
All three of those were essentially flops in a way. So
yeah. Big flop. Well, but McNeil was actually very successful financially. Artistically, that's another matter.
Fair enough. Well, we're not here to talk about necessarily things you hated. We're here to talk about a category.
I loved more than I hated.
Exactly. Well, all right. Then, what was your favorite show of the season?
Maybe Happy Ending. And let me tell you, it's a hard pick because I loved so many shows, but I think just in terms of originality, in terms of a show where everything works, the songs, the book, the performances, and the design, which is absolutely stunning and unforgettable, I'd have to pick that, even though, Dead Outlaw, Death Becomes Her, and Buena Vista Social Club are all close behind in terms of enjoyment.
Oh, good. Oh, that's what we love about a season. Like, oh, no, it's this one, but by this much, because these.
And that's just the musicals. John Proctor is the villain in Purpose, also incredible. I mean, 2 Pulitzer Prize-winning plays up for the Tony, because you have Purpose, which just won, and English, which won a few years back, and it may end up going to John Proctor. I mean, who knows? It was a pretty incredible season.
Well, we have some incredible nominees for featured actress in a musical, which is the category you'll be tackling, giving us some info about the nominees and also your picks and what you think will win. Let me read them down. It's Natalie Venetia Belcon in Buena Vista Social Club, Julie Nitto, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, in Dead Outlaw, Gracie Lawrence in Just in Time, Justina Machado in Real Women Have Curves, and Joy Woods as Louise in Gypsy. Raven, take it away.
Well, this is a great category, and one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it is that there really are no duds in this category at all, although I do think there's someone who's the favorite to win, and I agree with it, and that's actually the first one alphabetically, Natalie Venetia Belcon. She plays Omara Portuondo. It's terrible. I am such a gringa. I'm married to a Puerto Rican, and if he heard that pronunciation, he'd probably divorce me. But she plays this legendary Cuban singer. She is so good. She originated the role off Broadway when the show was done last season at the Atlantic. She learned Spanish for the role, which is unbelievable. I mean, I looked that up because I thought, does she speak it fluently? She sounds just so comfortable and so fluent. And this woman has done such incredible work on stage for 30 years. I remember her very fondly as originating Gary Coleman in Avenue Q, both off Broadway at the Vineyard, and then she did it on Broadway. But, she doesn't get enough work. I mean, I guess she's working regionally, probably doing concerts, but I just always love when I see her, and I think it's going to be her year. I think she deserves to be her year. Buena Vista Social Club is all about the band. The band is actually getting a special Tony Award that's on top of the 10 nominations that the show has, which ties it with Maybe Happy Ending and Death Becomes Her for the most nominations this season. And, it really is about the music and it is about the band. And even though the performers are absolutely solid, she is the heart and soul of this piece. It is really her story, her arc. She stands out, and I think she's going to win, and I think she deserves it.
Fair enough, but let's have a little bit about some of the other nominees.
It doesn't mean I don't like the other people.
But no, absolutely. You're choosing, again, by gradations here. So what about Julia Nittel? Again, not sure I'm pronouncing that.
I admit I'm not, I want to say Niddle, but I could be completely wrong. It could be Kniddle for all I know. This is another transfer from off Broadway, Dead Outlaw. She was great last season. She's wonderful in it. like most of her co-stars, she plays multiple roles and she plays them all very, very well. Even the small ones. At one point, she plays a teenager who confides in the title corpse. And it's, just this wonderful characterization. But, unless you're somebody like Sarah Snook, for example, who's playing 26 roles in a solo show, actors are not usually it's hard when you're playing so many small roles. It doesn't feel like this cohesive arc, and I just don't see her winning this year, even though she shows off her versatility and she's a gorgeous voice. I would like to see more of her. She's only done a little bit of Broadway, and I hope she does a lot more.
What about Gracie Lawrence in Just in Time, the Bobby Darin show?
So she really blew me away. What a singer she is. And so it wasn't surprising to find out that she actually is mostly a singer. She and her brother have a band called Lawrence. It's a soul pop band. I totally, full disclosure, I'd never heard of them, but they seem to be pretty popular in certain scenes. And, the voice that she has on her is absolutely amazing. She does a good job acting the part. It really is more about the singing. I mean, the whole show is about the singing. It's almost done like a nightclub act. And she was wonderful. And the fact is, she was across from Jonathan Groff, who's a beloved Broadway mainstay with the Tony, and she held her own. But again, I don't think it's going to be her year. I do hope we see her a lot more on Broadway. I hope she doesn't just go away with her band forever.
And what about Justina Machado in Real Women Have Curves?
So can I just say, I didn't say it was one of my favorites, but I love Real Women Have Curves, the musical. I think it's so underrated. It does not break the mold. It's very old fashioned in a lot of ways, and it does exactly what you expect it to. But my God, is this a crowd pleaser? And the biggest part of the crowd, the crowd is most pleased by Justina. When she comes on, people freak out. And part of that is she's a star. She's a TV star. People know her from One Day at a Time. They know her from 6 Feet Under. She's done some Broadway. She did In the Heights and stuff, but she really is known for her TV work, and people adore her. And that's really key, because the matriarch she plays is really kind of awful to her daughter at times. And she's not awful because she's a mean person. It's because she's worried. It's because, it's an undocumented family. The daughter is very bright, but she's the only one born here. So she is documented. I mean, talk about a timely subject, even though this is set in 1987. And, she really wins you over, even when she's not being the nicest person. I think in maybe a different year, it could have gone her way. But this show has really been overlooked. It only got 2 nominations. Really very depressing to me, because I think it's wonderful, but it's also indicative of what a strong year it was.
Yeah, and it's not a critic's darling; it's an audience darling, maybe.
Well, yes, but it's not doing. I mean, you can look at the grosses. Like, the grosses are what they are. I do think this show could be a hit if it found the right audience, and it hasn't yet. I hope maybe it will. I hope maybe I mean, if they get a number on the Tonys, they may not. They were not nominated for Best Musical. I think that could really help, but they were nominated for Best Score, so I don't know.
Now, but last but certainly not least, let's not forget Joy Woods, who is Louise in yet another revival of Gypsy, a good one. But your thoughts?
So I looked this up because I was curious. So there have been 6 productions of Gypsy on Broadway. And in all 6, the actress playing Louise has been nominated. And Laura Benanti actually won the Tony in 2008. Yeah. The other ones didn't win. But obviously, critics love this part. It's a great part. It's an incredible transformation from this mousy girl into this burlesque queen. I like Joy Wood. She is talented. She has a beautiful voice. She is gorgeous to look at. I will admit, having seen this part a lot, I think I've seen more convincing transformations. When she was mousy, I was just kind of like, girl, just put on some lipstick. It didn't feel like the full transformation. But look, she does a great job. It's a revolutionary take on it because it isn't colorblind casting. This is a Black family. George C. Wolfe, the director, has been very clear on that. And, I will never forget this Gypsy. And it meant so much to me that this was my daughter's first Gypsy. So she will forever, Audra will be her Mama Rose, which is amazing.
Well, curtain up, light the lights. We've got nothing to hit but the heights, with Raven Snook sharing her thoughts on this category and about the Tonys and Broadway in general. Raven, it's been fantastic again having you on the program. Everybody go to ravensnook.com. Raven.com to follow her writing, to read her stuff. Raven, S-N-O-O-K, ravensnook.com. Raven, time for us to fly away, but thank you for being with us once again.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.